Hello everyone and welcome to the NRL 2021 season reviews. This is the third consecutive year that I will be doing season review for clubs. Basically, I speak about the players who really stood out in the side, which is obviously quite difficult. With starting off, we have the Canterbury-Bankstown Bulldogs, who obviously finished at the bottom of the ladder. We get into their best win of the season, their worst loss, their entire draw, and what needs improving. And as for the Bulldogs, we're going to be speaking a lot about the 2022 signings. There's a lot of good things to come, but definitely some low moments this season, some highs, some players to talk about. And guys, it's been a long time, so welcome back. And let's get straight into the 2021 Canterbury-Bankstown Bulldogs season review. Well, 2021 looked very promising with the Bulldogs, with a few new signings to the club and new coaching staff under Trent Barrett. But it was a shaky start for Canterbury fans. A loss to the Knights. They scored in the first 10 minutes. They looked pretty good to start the season, the Bulldogs, but Knights running away with that one, 32-16. And then the horror show. The Bulldogs were kept to nil for 3 straight weeks. First against the premiership winners, the Penrith Panthers. Then the Broncos. No one knew who was going to win that game at the start of the season. I went the Broncos, but it was such a coin flip, and it was 24-0. And then the Rabbitohs on Good Friday, obviously whooping them 38-0. The Bulldogs finally broke their try-scoring drought under Luke Thompson. He's been playing absolutely fantastic for him. In a struggling side, he always stands out in consistency. They came close against the Cowboys, but ended up losing that one 30-18. But in round 7, I did attend the Sharks and the Bulldogs at Kogarah. As you can see here, Trent Barrett on the left, just a tear in his eye. He gets his first win as the Canterbury-Bankstown Bulldogs coach. And I'll tell you what, the Bulldogs played pretty good this game. The Sharks were a little bit off, but their defence was nice. Nick Kotrik looked more comfortable early on. Look, it was really good for them to get this win of the season. But as for consistency in regards to wins, we're only going to be speaking about 3 or 4 wins. So it's worrying signs, but I guess it was nice to get that win against the Sharks, the Doggies fans, come round 7. And then they lose to Parramatta 32-10. I spoke to the Bulldogs in my match review after the game against the Sharks. They were a little bit too confident for mine. Obviously, a lot of confidence would come from that win. But after losing 6 straight weeks, I expected it to be, I expected a little bit more thought from them, but I think they went into that game against Parramatta where, mind you, they kept it close, but we ended up running away with it 32-10. Now, the Raiders, they didn't come close to expectations in 2021. They were really struggling against some poor sides, and this was shown at Magic Round, but I have to give credit to the Bulldogs. I think this is one of their highs of the season, going down 20 points to 18. I guess it would have been better if they come away with the victory, but they had a low, grindy affair, and a penalty goal pretty much only separated the two sides here before a loss to the Titans, where the Bulldogs looked like they were coming back in this game. They ended up losing at 30 points to 20. The Titans running away winners at home there. And then 1 try scored the following week against Penrith gave the Bulldogs a much-needed bye. And that bye, wow, they whooped the Dragons, who were a very different side in 2021, very hard to get a read on, and their season obviously came to an end in a barbecue, which I'll speak about in their season review. But the Bulldogs defeat the Dragons round 14, 28-6. What a victory. We'll obviously get into that final game of the season, where it was probably a better win than this, I guess, but really big performance from the Bulldogs here to win a game. First win in at least 2 months. Massive performance from Jake Avrilla. I remember meeting him after the match, taking a photo with him, and just really good performance. And I mentioned before that when the Eels played the Bulldogs that they were able to keep it close, but in the way Parramatta ran away with it. I was actually talking about round 15, where the Bulldogs led the Eels 10-6 at halftime. Parramatta winning 36-10, but the Bulldogs against the Eels, grindy affair after that confidence-boosting win against the Dragons. Now, getting into the final half of the 2021 season, the Bulldogs came up against the Manly Seagulls and lost that game 66-0. Holy shit. The Bulldogs, there was nothing going their way at Bankwest Stadium. Manly winning away. Massive winners, 66-0 in that game. I think we all tipped Manly, but not by that much. Didn't expect that scoreline. Once again, the Bulldogs being kept scoreless. Another low light of the season, but still a lot of players playing some great footy. Now, this game here in round 17, very interesting game where the Bulldogs were keeping it very close with the Sydney Roosters. The Roosters may have won the game 22-16, but I tell you what, really, really great effort from Canterbury here. And they put that effort in the following week, which I probably didn't expect, but they kept it very close between the South Sydney Rabbitohs losing that game 32 points to 24, putting 24 on that Rabbitohs side. Their defence for the Rabbitohs obviously needed work, but for the Bulldogs to lose to 38 earlier in the season, you could see that there were signs of improvement, and they started scoring points. They did it against the Sharks in a loss, 44-24, but they're still scoring an average of 20 points per week. So, look, it was a really strange read, but all that came to an end when the Titans defeated the Bulldogs 34-6 in round 20. Well, the Bulldogs had one last gift for fans to finish the season, but as round 21 came along, the season came to pretty much a halt from New South Wales, and the competition was moved to Queensland, where Cbus Super Stadium became the home for the Bulldogs, and they went down to the Tigers 28-16. They were whooped by the New Zealand Warriors 24 points to 10. I'm just trying to check. I think maybe the Warriors and Bulldogs game was close, 16-10, at half time. But in the end, the Warriors too good. But I want to speak about this game where they lost to Manly 36-18. Very brave performance, especially in that first half. Few errors in the second half, but some shitty calls went the Bulldogs' way. And I honestly think the Bulldogs could have been said as the better team. If you watch that entire game, there's always going to be some bad refereeing in rugby league. That's just a part of sport in general. But I think the Bulldogs were refereed out of a great contest here. It was a great low-scoring game, but some tries that shouldn't have been given were given. But anyway, Manly win the game 36-18. I guess it's a bit of a scoreline, but I just think it was a little bit unfair for the Doggies. Round 25, though, they finish off the season with a 38-0 win over the Tigers. Now, I did tip the Bulldogs to win this game, the final game of the season. I was saying that they'll get one over the Tigers for the fans, but I did not expect this type of scoreline. It was a great performance. Their young players coming through, and then their experienced players standing up. Well, let's get into the players' season. Well, the Canterbury Bulldogs had plenty of new faces for the 2021 season. And look, even though it wasn't a great season, I think these players can bounce back. They've had a pretty good season. Some players I want to speak about in the centres. He's earned his spot for now. They have signed a lot of backline players that could fill the role next year, but Aaron Schwab has been great for the Bulldogs. Bailey Biondo-Odu has been absolutely fantastic in the back row via the bench, and also filling in a half-back role. It's not the traditional role I would put him in. I'd keep him in that back row, his ability to run hard and offload. Nick Kotrik obviously coming to the Bulldogs. It was a woeful season for mine. Injury got to him. He wasn't ready for Canterbury. I loved him at the Canberra Raiders, so I really want to see the best for Nick Kotrik. And look, there's rumours of him coming to Paris, so I would really, really welcome this signing, especially with the players that the Bulldogs are recruiting. They also picked up Kyle Flanagan from the Sydney Roosters, who was underused as Jake Averillo, and Brandon Wakeham spent quite a bit of time in the half with Lachlan Lewis coming in for key moments. Their captain, Josh Jackson, another outstanding season. I think Luke Thompson was probably their most consistent player. He had an absolutely fantastic season, but honestly, I think players like Renouf Atoni and Bailey Biondo-Odu were probably the two best players for the Bulldogs all season. And I think they had a pretty good team, but they just weren't performing under coach Trent Barrett to end the season. Well, this is what you've all been waiting for. Let's talk about next year for the Bulldogs fans. There is a lot to go through. Let's talk about who is leaving the side first. So Chris Smith has been released. Dallin Watene-Zelezniak obviously off to New Zealand Warriors. Will Hopewade off to join St Helens. Adam Elliott has been released, and Renouf Atoni heads to the Sydney Roosters. Jeremy Marshall-King, Bailey Biondu have been re-signed for 2022 and 2023. And some new faces at the club, as you can see on the screen. I cannot believe it for myself. Josh Adokar signed till 2025 from the Melbourne Storm. Been a fantastic winger over the year. He had some great form and moments in 2021 with his 5 tries scored in that game. John Asiata from the Broncos has signed with the Dogs. Braden Burns from the South Sydney Rabbitohs. Matt Burton, premiership winning Penrith Panther. He's going to really do a lot in the halves. I think it's going to be really good to see him in their side. Josh Cook, Damien Cook's younger brother from the Bunnies. Matthew Duffy from the Dragons heads to Canterbury-Bankstown. There's just so many names to get through. So much excitement coming to Canterbury. Max King from the Storm, very underrated sighting. He was great at the Titans, great at the Storm. He's been bulking up and he's ready for some footy. He'll be playing via the bench and eventually, potentially, in that starting side. Brenton Aiden didn't get much time under the Penrith Panthers this year, but he also heads to Canterbury. Tavita Pangai Jr. from the Brisbane Broncos. Obviously, he didn't get to play in that premiership winning grand final, but I'm guessing he got a ring. He was part of the Panthers side by contract. And Paul Vaughan, the St. George Illawarra Dragons, massive loss. Paul Vaughan heads to the Bulldogs. So there are some damn good signings in 2022. Let me know your favourite in the comments. Well, there you go, guys. That is the season review done for team number 1, the Canterbury-Bankstown Bulldogs, finishing in last position. Lots of good signs for 2022. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. I will see you guys on Wednesday for the North Queensland Cowboys NRL 2021 season review.